Chapter 4. Put up or shut up. Gil Finley steps forward, a knowing grin spreading across his face as his sharp eyes settle on Dutch.
I'd like to say you look a lot better off than the last time I saw you. But I'm not sure fur is your look, Masterson.
Dutch smirks, his tail flicking behind him, as he eyes his short friend.
And I'd like to say you haven't changed a bit, Finley, but we were both a little less lively on the last go-round.
Frank glances between Dutch and Gil, his grip tightening on Cricket's hilt as curiosity flares in his eyes.
All right, hold on a second. You two clearly know each other, and from the sound of it, things got sticky. Care to explain when and where you crossed paths?
Before either can explain, Tommy cuts in with a sharp wave of his hand.
Chit-chat later. We got bigger things to worry about. The Queen Mother expects you on the dais quick, fast, and in a hurry.
The fellowship shares a wary look before following Tommy, climbing the steps. Dutch gives Gil a subtle nod as they ascend, their shared history unspoken but clearly far from hostile. As the fellowship ascends the third step, reality seems to shift. The air grows heavier, charged with an almost unbearable energy, as suddenly their vision clears, leaving the entirety of the dais visible. In the center of the dais, a massive orb of swirling blue light hums within a golden rune cage. Its brilliance pulses like a living star, each wave of energy pressing against their senses, daring them to look deeper into its boundless power. Yet it isn't the orb that holds their gaze. Across from them, perched on an ornate love seat, are two familiar figures from their past. Terence, Tyrone's steadfast cousin and protector, sits with the same quiet strength that had guided them through their last perilous mission, the one that saved Jasmine's soul. His presence alone is grounding, but it's the woman seated beside him who steals their breath. Maria Lopez, known to the world as Sierra Rivera, radiates a beauty that hasn't dimmed despite the chaos of her recent years. Her dark eyes glint with intelligence and mischief as the orb's eerie light dances across her skin. For Frank, she is family. For Dutch, she is a wound barely healed. The fellowship freezes, caught between awe and unease, as the past rises to meet them beneath the revealing glow of the orb. Terence leans back on the love seat, his steady gaze locking onto Tyrone.
Didn't think I'd be seeing you so soon, cousin. Looks like you're still finding ways to get in over your head. But I'm not sure if I can drag you out of this one.
Sierra crosses her legs and flashes a knowing smirk at Dutch, though the look in her eyes seems concerned. She pointedly doesn't turn towards Frank.
Still the same old Dutch, always chasing mysteries and making messes. Tell me, are you here to finally help clean all this up, or just add to the chaos?
As Sierra speaks to Dutch, Tyrone shifts his stance, his hammer glowing faintly. His eyes flicker between his cousin and the orb of power.
Terence, you better start talking. What is this thing? Is it what's causing the air to feel alive?
Dutch steadies himself, his tail flicking behind him.
Good to see you too, Maria. And for the record, I don't chase chaos. I keep it from burning the whole place down.
Frank steps forward, his voice firm. His expression is one of quiet calm.
Sierra, Terence, enough posturing. Whatever this is, it's more important than spilt milk. Tell us what we're dealing with, and tell us fast.
Moira steps closer to Sierra, her voice softer than usual.
Miss Lopez, Sierra, whatever you prefer to be called. I ken you've seen things we can't even start to grasp, but we're needing your guidance. Please, if you've got any notion of what we're up against, help us make sense of it, aye?
Sierra and Terence share a long, silent look, their expressions heavy with unspoken words as they weigh the fellowship's plea. The quiet stretches until a rough, weathered voice breaks it. Gil Finley pipes up from his place as the rear guard, his gaze steady and worn by years of hard-earned experience.
I understand wanting to protect your own. Believe me, I do. But this stopped being your choice the moment Indigo called for the fellowship. These here answered, so there ain't no use holding 'em back.
Tommy clears his throat, his voice carrying a quiet impatience, the tone of someone unaccustomed to dealing with people operating so emotionally. When he finally speaks, his words are measured and sharp.
Indigo is meeting with Callum, the arcane guardian who greeted you at the docks. She's giving him his orders now and will join us shortly.
He pauses, letting the weight of his next words settle before continuing.
She has a mission for us, one that will demand everything we've got, and more. If we succeed, the foreign presence possessing Montana won't just be banished. It'll be destroyed. No more slipping into another host, no more starting over. It will end here.
Sierra's gaze settles on Frank, steady and searching, as if trying to anchor him with unspoken words. Her voice is calm but weighted, each syllable carefully chosen.
This isn't your fight. None of you owe this battle your lives. You stepped in when no one else would, helping to save Mastermind. We won't forget that. But before you go any further, think about what you're risking.
She doesn't ask them to turn back, not outright, but the plea lingers in the air all the same. Tyrone is the first to break the silence, his voice steady and sure. I'm in, he says without hesitation, as if the decision had already been made the moment the mission was mentioned. Dutch's voice follows, rich with conviction. Count me in as well. There's no wavering, only the weight of honor in his words. A declaration, not a question. A pause stretches before Frank speaks. He takes Moira's hand, pressing it gently to his lips as his eyes search hers. The moment lingers, heavy with thought, but when he finally answers, his voice is firm. I'm in. No doubt, no retreat, only resolve. Moira's answer comes last, soft but no less certain. Me too. Though quieter than the others, her words carry the same unshakable determination. Terence clears his throat, his voice steady but laced with the weight of what's at stake.
Well then, on to the next order of business. Indigo made it clear we'll need to split into two groups. The first will make up the strike team. They will slip behind enemy lines, directly into the eye of the storm.
He pauses, letting the gravity of the words sink in before continuing.
Indigo is confident her powers can shield up to 4 people, allowing us to set an ambush in the heart of Montana's lair. I'll be in her group, and we'll be joined by 2 others, out of Sierra, Tommy, and Gil.
His gaze moves across the fellowship, steady and deliberate.
The rest of you will form the guard team, and your role may be the most critical of all. So be sure about which of us you select to join you. The guard team will be protecting this orb. If it falls, the mission fails, and everyone on the strike team dies.
Terence's words hung heavy in the air as the fellowship stood in silence. The orb pulsed faintly at the center of the dais, a reminder of all that was at stake. No one argued, no one hesitated. Tonight, the battle would begin.